Hello, my name is Kevin, and this video is about use of images and worship. I have to say that I'm not a guru, though I'm a student of one, and my guru's name is Shri Dharma Acharya. This is my attempt at explaining the use of images and whatnot and worship. This is my attempt. If I'm leaving out anything important, please let me know in the description below, in the comments below. Okay. So the thing is about use of images in worship is that the image in question, what it is, it's a representation of the deity in question. Okay. In the same way, a family portrait is a representation of the family, but not the family itself, because the portrait is made of paper and paint. In the same way, when you look at a picture of your friend on the computer, the picture is of digital matter and not your actual friend. It represents your friend, but what you're looking at is a digital pixels and stuff like that. In the same way, a flag represents a country, and it's not just a piece of cloth. Rather, it represents a country. And of course, the flag itself is not the country, but the flag represents a country. So hopefully with those examples, it drives the point that, okay, well, that people who use images are not studying who are not worshiping the image for the sake of the image. No, rather they're worshiping what the image represents. The images of themselves, they help us and allow us to serve directly. They help us to offer our respectful obeisances and whatnot. They help us to abandon ego. They help us to cultivate a personal relationship with the deity in question. That begs another question: what is a deity? And I did a video of that. If you can check out on the card, if there is one, I hope there is. And there are Vedic texts that go into great detail about the use of images and how there's a science to it and whatnot. And one of the things that they say is that beauty is important. That beauty helps to increase devotion, and that's an important thing. You can't just just get something dark and ugly looking and. Dark as in looking like sinister and whatnot. You want something beautiful. If it's something you're going to use as a vehicle for the divine, you want something to look pleasing, right? Because the thing is, as Shri Dharma Acharya says, that our minds are not everywhere. Well, to paraphrase Acharya, our minds are not everywhere, but the divine is. Because we're human beings, we have our own limitations. So we have to use every tool we can use, and to help us to focus on the divine. Whether that's a demigod or what have you. So essentially, we have to spiritualize the material. To quote Acharya. I would like to read a few things from Prabhupada that talk about this subject directly. And here we go. Just like we have installed the deity according to śāstra. I have to give some context here. When he says the deity, he's talking about the murti. Murti is Sanskrit for what we would call like a sacred statue of a particular deity. But in this context, he's talking about God, right? The highest. Just like we have installed the deity according to śāstra. Śāstra means, and Sanskrit means means scripture. There is nothing imaginary. It is not idol worship. Idol worship is different. Just like in the Western countries, they put an idol on the street, on the park, as the resting place of crows and passing stool on the head. That is idol worship. The so-called statues are installed without any protection. No, our worship is not idol worship. This is deity worship. We construct a temple and spend lakhs. The word lakhs, a lakh is a unit of 100,000. So lakhs of rupees to install the deity. And another quote I like to read here says, idol means your imaginary. Okay, we gotta bear in mind, Prabhupada, his first language isn't English, so this bear with it. Idol means you're imaginary, and deity is not imaginary. Deity is installed by the authorized person, and it is worshipped according to authorized methods. So it is not an idol. Idol worship, you imagine something and use some dollar idol and do it your own way. That is idol worship. Well, the thing is, to go deeper into what Prabhupada means here is that when talking about the highest and having a statue, a murtis represent the highest, is that there's very specific authorized ways and to proceed with that. He gives the example of the post box or mailbox, if you will, is that an authorized mailbox, you put letters in it, and a postman picks it up and it goes to the person you're sending the mail to or what have you. Well, if one to make up their own mailbox, you put mail in it, nothing's going to happen. So this is what Prabhupada means here, whatnot, where when you have something else, in his context, when talking about the highest, when you have just your own little thing, and not according to the scriptures or whatnot, it's just one's own, if you will, speculation and whatnot. But step back from that. But just to go back to his point about the like statue in the park or whatnot. The point is how to offer respect. That if you respect a person, so if you expose this form of the person on the public park, giving the crows a chance to pass stool on his head, is that more respectful? Or if you keep that statue in a temple and daily dress him and garland him and offer him food, is that more respectful? Which is more respectful? You are doing the same thing, but you are exposing to the stool of birds and crows. Yeah, it's he was making the point about that it's more respectful to have a statue of someone that you honor in a temple rather than outside, where outside animals can do their stool and whatnot on it. This all drives the point that some people in the outside looking into this may think, oh well, this is just idol worship. No, it's as Prabhupada said, this is not idol worship. And I'm going to read a bit from a book I highly recommend called Sanatana Dharma, The Eternal Natural Way by Shri Dharma Bhavartika Acharya. And it goes in the and he has a part here, it goes in the great detail, like the context of murti and sacred images or whatnot. And this is on page 384. So this is in this context. It's more about establishing a home altar and whatnot. And I'm gonna read the second paragraph and the second, third, fourth paragraph, and I'm gonna read another paragraph. But anyway, here we go. Once you have picked your altar, then you need to pick out your image of God for worship, and this is referring to the highest, right? This is not referring to any demigod, right? The image of God is termed a murti in Sanskrit. It is important to understand that it is an authorized murti and not an idol, a graven image, or merely the blind worship of some imaginary statue concocted in the mind of some flawed human being. Rather, the murti represents a trans-substantive portal, a transparent via medium, through which the very presence of God is made accessible to the material world, made accessible in the material world. It is a yogic focal point of meditation, concentration, and veneration, through which the unseen, transcendent being becomes approachable by his devotees, where they find themselves currently situated within the material realm. Thus, the murti is a direct manifestation of God's limitless grace upon his devotees. For an image to conform to the precise yogic mechanisms of murti puja, devotional meditation on the image of God. The murti must correspond to the exact specifications outlined in the revealed Vedic scriptures that impart the nature of these precision-tuned instruments of meditative awareness. Such scriptures include the Agamas, the Pancharatras, and Tantras. Thus, the authorized murti forms of God are not to ever be confused to be man-made or concocted whims of imperfect imagination, but rather represent the crystal-clear glimpses of spiritual reality that were experienced by the greatest of our sages, rishis, and subsequently passed down to us via the scriptures that they revealed. And I'm just going to read another paragraph. Here we go. From the very earliest dawn of religious consciousness in human beings, people have attempted to approach and know the divine by the use of various intermediary devices. Such vehicles of worship and meditation have included divine images, sacred relics of saints, and hallowed objects of many descriptions. The use of murtis or divine images as a meditational vehicle for approaching God is nothing new, and is not limited to only the Sanatana Dharma tradition. It is a revealed spiritual science. I think it was important to read all that out. And this is again from Sanatana Dharma, Eternal Natural Way. Sanatana Dharma, Eternal Natural Way by Sri Dharma Pravartika Acharya. I'm not sponsored. Anyway, but this gives them great insight. I mean, I didn't read all of it. It's always good to get the book yourself, because this book of itself goes into great detail about what is Sanatana Dharma, and it does make references on pre-Christian Europe and stuff like that here and there. But it's important to know that that the use of images is a good way to cultivate that personal relationship with a particular demigod, or if or what have you. But I will also put a link down below of a text Vedic text that does talk about in great detail about this or whatnot. Now it begs the question: what would the word for image be for Old English? Well, the word that I came across was, there's many variants of this. There's onlikeness. There's also andlikeness. Andlikeness. Onlikeness and whatnot. So it's kind of like saying today, likeness. That would be like the closest to a modern equivalent. I mean, the oldest of which of variants would be andlikeness or something like that. And if that were today's English, let's say we're to modernize that would be like saying and likeness, which is But anyway, so that's if that was a word for image, it'd be onlikeness, which is attested, or andlikeness, or what have you. So in a nutshell, images help us to connect with the divine and whatnot, and connect with a particular demigod or what have you, or whatnot, and it's definitely not idol worship, because we're not worshiping the material itself or what have you, rather what the statue or image represents, right? So all right, well, I hope this video helps in some shape or form. Again, I'm not a guru, so you can take what you want out of this video and whatnot. I hope it helps in some shape or form. I'll have a link down for the Vedic text that does talk about this and whatnot. And anyway, thank you for watching. And if you want to see more, please subscribe, and see you next time. Bye-bye.